As a student, there are top 3 questions you always ask yourself on a daily basis. 1. Will Nessos ever change? 2. Why am I here? Because the teacher is explaining this concept to me like he's just as confused as me. And 3. Will Cyril ever actually do what he promises in his yearly speeches? In 2024, Cyril addressed the nation and surprise, surprise! Nothing's changed. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, no, that's way too early for me to say that because it's only been like, what, 1 week since he addressed the nation? And you're right. You're completely right by saying that. I can't see someone give a whole 1 hour, 30-minute speech and then expect him to implement something less than a week later. That's just impossible. That's very unrealistic. And I agree with you on this 100%, maybe even 200%, but there's just one slight problem. The points he's been giving us this year were the points he gave us last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before, probably since the very beginning, the very first time he hit the presidential position. Let me give you an example to put you on game. How many times have you heard Cyril talk about giving the youth more jobs? I don't know, probably like 6 years ago, the very first time you saw this man address the nation. Let me give you an update on that. This year alone, more than 400,000 people have lost their jobs in South Africa. And then you have this man promising to give the youth more jobs, whereas he said the same thing last year. And this is the result: 300,000 plus people lose their jobs. Now, that is not the only thing he keeps repeating. The load shedding situation, I can tell you for a fact that there are some areas till this day, I will argue that fact, there are some areas this day and age who are experiencing load shedding. Maybe not you who's watching at home, maybe your area is safe. For now, that is. We don't know. Maybe you wake up tomorrow and it turns out the monkeypox has reached 1 million people affected by it, and because of that, there's load shedding. I don't know, some dumb reason or something. Now, let me put you on game again. How many times have you heard Cyril talk about an increase of a better standard of education? You go to school, I hope. Unless you're done with school, but you've learned something. And if you went to school the time Cyril was president, had anything changed? From Zuma to Cyril, had anything changed? I want you to tell me deep down if anything had changed. Not from bad to worse, but to better. Has something turned better? What? I want you to comment what actually turned out better for you ever since Cyril became president. Because here's the thing about this entire situation. I don't have a problem with Cyril at all. He's a good man. As a president, he's very repetitive. AI could do a better job than him in this country because he says the same thing over and over again, expecting us to keep nodding our heads like puppets and clapping for him. It's almost as if the applauses for him in parliament are scripted. The way these people actually clap for this man, it disappoints me and it disgusts me. That place should be silent because they know it's not the first time they hear those points. Don't even get me started on the youth. Don't get me started on the youth. You think it's only jobs that are a situation? It's millions. The NESFAs, the accommodations. You could say job opportunities all day, but at the end of the day, the youth still faces a million more other situations. I don't know how many teenagers have been impregnated this year, but that's a story for another day. Which leads me to crime. You can judge that. I don't have to say anything on that. Look around you and see if anything has gotten better in terms of crime, and then you'll have your answer. So, back to what I was saying about your beloved president. He says the same thing over and over again, and you guys keep clapping and nodding your heads like puppets. And what is the result of this? The man stays as president. 4 years later, the elections come about, and he's still president. Why? Not because y'all don't know what's going on, but y'all tolerate it. You see, that's the problem right there. It's all fun and games at first. It's all, oh nah, it doesn't matter anyway, until it does. It's always, oh nah, 300,000 plus people lost their jobs, but I'm okay, right? I'm still safe. I still have a job. Until you start being the one being affected by that. Until you start being the one losing the job. Until you start being the one who fails to be the breadwinner for the family. Until you start being the one who loses his paycheck cycle. And then it becomes a problem. And then you want to vote the president off. But remember, it's you versus the 55 million people in South Africa who still believe this man can be president. Why do I say this? Because 55 million people people is the population of South Africa. Let me tell you why. This recent election, most of the population of this country voted. And what did we get? We got a coalition. Who's still the president? You tell me. And what does that tell me? It tells me that y'all are still okay with Cyril as president. And as long as y'all, the majority, are still okay with this man as president, we ain't gonna stay with this man as president. And we ain't gonna do nothing about it because y'all keep voting for him over and over again. And don't even think that I left the youth out of the woods for this. Because you too have a part to blame for all the malarkey that's going on. You listen to others, you vote for this party if they vote for this party. You don't actually take time to analyze what's going on. If you analyze the State of the Nation address, you'll notice that it goes for approximately plus minus 1 hour 30 minutes. Plus minus 1 hour 30 minutes of Cyril saying the exact same thing he was talking about last year. I've reached a point where AI could have written a better speech than this man because he says the same thing over and over again. It's not that he's not smart. It's not that he's not fit enough to be president. The problem is he promises the same thing over and over again and does nothing about it. He's gonna do the same thing next year. Let's make a bet. I bet Cyril won't talk about opening more job opportunities for the youth next year. You want to make that bet? Probably not. Why? Because you know deep down he's going to say that shit. And why do you think he's going to say that shit? It's because you know he's not going to do it this year. So he's going to talk about it again next year. So what's the point of all this? What's the point of me making an entire video of Cyril addressing the nation? My point is specifically targeting the youth. If you're serious about life, you're not going to watch this man addressing the nation anymore, and you'll devote that time to something better, like doing something productive like a side hustle or something. Because by the looks of things, South Africa is still going downhill compared to last year. And the economy is doing a little better, but let's be honest, it's going to reach another crash, especially with all the Mpox junk going on. Goodbye.